Hey everyone, what's happening? Welcome to another Porter video. We have this beautiful Reverend Jetstream 390. As you can see, there's 390s, so there's 390 in the name. Always been a P90 fan. What's better than two P90s? Three P90s, of course. So we got this from our friends at Tulsa Guitar Company. I'm going to put a link to Tulsa Guitar Co. down in the description. Awesome dealers of Porter, awesome dealers of Reverend, and other awesome brands. So there's a ton of cool stuff at Tulsa Guitar Company. Consider supporting them as a great local shop. But we are going to jump into our From the Bench series. This will be episode 2 of From the Bench. This will be part 1, and then there's going to be a part 2 after that. So it's kind of like the teaser. So Marco, what are we going to do to this thing?
Well, we're going to do actually quite a little bit to it. So we're going to obviously swap out the stock P90s for we're going to do a vintage in the neck and in the bridge, because we don't normally hear those. We are normally doing like our classics in the neck and bridge, and then we're going to do just our classic in the middle.
So if you don't know, we have a vintage hot and a regular vintage P90 option, both in the soap bar and the dog ear as well. So sweet. So you're going to be installing P90s. I am going to be working on the frets on this guitar. So one of the things we like to do with our demo guitars is try to make them play as good as possible. The thing I love about this, and we've had a couple Reverends through the guitar, fit and finish, quality. I love Limba. So that was really I wanted this guitar for the Limba and the 3 P90s more than anything else. But one of the things that I noticed about the specific frets on here is it just kind of needs some TLC. The frets were leveled and they appear to be fairly well leveled, but there was not extra time spent on the crown and polishing. So that would be my only kind of maybe negative about this guitar, is a lot of time was spent everywhere else but the frets are kind of important. So I remember telling you, like, well, we're not going to make this into a demo or a demo guitar until we get it playing the way we want. But on the positive, I feel like as you look for guitars that are like bang for the buck, I would still qualify this as one of the Reverend stuff as one of your best options out there, to be honest. Just quality wise. What do you think of the guitar kind of as it sits right now?
Yeah, it's like you're saying, I don't think it's going to like hold you back by any means, but we spend a lot of time holding guitars, and I think we fixate on very tiny details, and we're not able to like unsee these things, so we're kind of like ruined in that aspect. But it's just like you said, we're trying to do everything we can to make this demo experience when someone comes in and picks this up to really just knock their socks off. Whether that's, just changing strings, but we want to do pickups, we want to do the frets, and we really want to make this thing like a gig ready, I guess.
Yeah, and it's worth it. Like I said before, it's worth upgrading. I think that's the biggest thing to me, is like, if we're talking to people about putting new pickups in a guitar, we want to make sure that it's worth putting the money into. You're going to be spending a decent chunk of change if you're replacing 3 P90s from us. So make sure the guitar is good and make sure it's a solid platform. So again, that would be my thing that I want to take care of. So we're going to take this guitar apart, and each of us are going to cut it in half, and you're going to be working on the body, I'm going to be working on the neck. Let's head over to the bench and start the project. All right, what's happening, everyone? Welcome to our benches. We're going to be walking through this. We're going to try to keep this detailed but not crazy long, and we're going to tell you what we're working on. If you have questions, you can leave that in the comments below as well. All right, Marco, what's your plan of attack over there?
Well, I'm going to start by taking off the pickguard screws and then just seeing what I'm working with underneath. You can plan for it, but sometimes you just got to open it up and see what you're working with.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'm taking the Music Nomad notch straight edge here, and this is a 25.5-inch scale length neck. And what I'm trying to do now is just checking the straightness of the neck. So this allows me to see if the neck is straight. If it's not straight, I can adjust the truss rod. It looks like it might need to just be backed off slightly. And so the reason why I'm getting this neck completely straight is that I want to be able to check the frets and make sure there's no high frets. Before I go through and crown everything, I don't want any high frets. So that's the process we're going through right now. It looks like towards the end there's just a slight little gap here and then here. So that's going to mean we're going to want to drop the center of the neck. So I'll make small adjustments till I'm happy with that being as flat as possible. And that looks really good. So far, pretty impressed with the way this neck is. Feels really great. I'm gonna do a couple small things. I like to round over the edges a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and do that while I'm working on the crowning part. And also, so far I don't feel a lot of major fret sprout here on either side, which is a good sign. I know many of us have gotten guitars that have had that, and it's a bit of a pain for sure. I'll also probably put this in a neck cradle at some point, but I'm just gonna show you kind of the general process since I don't have the neck cradle with me.
Very clean wiring on this bad boy. Pro tip, when you're taking pickguard screws off, I would identify your switch screws first, and then don't touch those, because then you'll have a whole new set of problems.
Yeah, keeping it, a lot of times people will say, well, take a photo of your guts before you open it, you know, start doing surgery on the guitars, trace everything out. Some people will even go and diagram everything out. So you, right there, Marco's snapping a quick photo. That's always good to have that, especially when if you need to put it back to original. Yep. We modify everything because that's our job. But so what I'm doing here is I'm going through with the fret rocker. This is just a simple four-sided, whatever that four-sided thing.
What do they call this? Fret checker, fret rocker.
Yeah. So the fret rocker. So I was thinking the four-sided shape. What is that? Is it a rhombus or something like that?
Parallelogram? Quadrilateral.
Don't ask us that technical questions. You can make fun of us in the comments. But basically, you want to span 3 frets, and you're looking for any kind of rocking to see if it rocks. That means you have a high fret in the center. Sometimes that might mean you have a low fret over here if you're rocking down. And then there's different lengths here to span shorter distances. So as I get down here, I'm going to go down to this smaller length here and check that. So I've gone through this, and actually as a good sign, like everything seems very, very level. I figured it would be pretty close to level because one of the good and bad things is you can see the leveling marks. So if you look really closely, you probably won't be able to see it on the camera, but there is hairline scratches on flat tops on all the frets. So what I want to do is polish that out a little bit, leave rooms for smoother string bends, and create just like a shinier fret, because they are a little bit rough from the factory.
And so the first thing I'm doing here is I typically will just do one at a time so you can make sure you're doing the right pickup in the right order, but you will kind of want to see and make sure, like, oh, this one is coming out of my bridge pickup. This one is nice because the neck and the bridge are gray, and then the middle is a different color, it's black. But so I'm just going to start with one. I undid all the grounds because you can see all 3 of these pickup leads are using the same ground. It's just twisted. So I'm just going to put that back when I'm done, but now I'm just going to remove each pickup one at a time. Starting with this bridge pickup, and you just follow the wire and you'll see that that is hooked up to number 1 right here. And then I'll just do them one at a time, 1, 2, 3.
Nice, yeah, so I did find a small little rock here, kind of up high, just past the fret 13 here. And that only is just this last little portion of the fret right here. And so what I can do is take a small leveling beam like this, and typically I'll do like a 400 grit or something that's not gonna leave a lot of scratches. Thankfully, I'm gonna be taking scratches off. So in this case, I'm gonna put some 220 on there. And then again, not going very extensive on this, but I'll just show you kind of how I do that double side. Right there, you can put some Sharpie on there if you want. If you know where it is, it's a good idea to kind of just mark your fret just right on the end. It's like, okay, I know this is high from this point to this point, and then you can run your mini beam. These are made to go under the strings. That's always a good idea to level with string tension, but it got my neck straight. So I'm just gonna hit that part ever so slightly, go this way and this way. And then that's gonna take out, that should take out all of that extra rock. Just about all of it is gone already. So I wanna do small amounts just to knock that center high fret off. And then yeah, now Now we're nice and stable on our fret rocker here. So let's see if there's any other problem areas. And because this is our shop guitar that we're not planning on getting rid of, I can take my time to kind of go through this whole job. So that's what I'm working on here. And then the next step now is to go through and start crowning everything. So that's going to take some time. I have a little bit, again, the neck's kind of rocking because I've got these locking tuners over here. So typically I'm going to want to use my little cradle, but I'm not sure where it's at right now. So I'm going to show you just the technique. And then as I get to the serious part of the crowning, I'm going to switch over to give it better support. But you can put this on a pile of shirts. You can put it on a bunch of other stuff. And then just going to be using a basic diamond crowning file. I've got quite a bit of these, but I'm going to start with this one and see if I like the way that it crowns these frets.
All right, and I just separated the grounds. I did see that the bridge ground, or this is probably the trem, same diff. I just separated that ground because that was also bundled up with the grounds on the pickups. But now you can see this is the middle on 2, the neck on 3. And these kinds of switches are really nice because it only goes here, you know. So you just replace the wire where you remove the wire and you should be all good.
Yeah, it's a lot more of a simple like path is what you're saying underneath.
Yeah.
That's great. So basically now what I'm doing is trying to round over the tops of these frets and make them a little bit more of a crowned point. And that I can do that a couple different ways with one of these files. I've even gone as far as taking a fret eraser and putting some sandpaper on that and using the groove that I've already created in there. But I've got all sorts of files. I've got some StewMac files. I've got some kind of more rough files. Being that these are regular nickel frets and they're not stainless steel, I can get away with using the diamond file. Stainless steel, you've got to do a little bit more work, and this is an unnatural motion to reach around and come back, but I want to make sure I'm kind of showing you guys this. So basically I'm just creating a better rounded top on these. I'm going to leave a little bit of that leveling line. Everything looks level, so I don't want to take that level away, but I want to kind of create just like the highest point possible of that level. I'm going to go all the way down here, and then from there it's into the polishing parts of the frets, which I'll jump in and show you here in a second.
I am just getting to the bridge install. I'm going to use the same plastics, just in case they are an exact shade match, and you know, we want to have it all looking nice and neat.
And then on some P90s, like our P90s are all 50 millimeter spacing. So if you run into that where you're swapping something out, you might get a 52 millimeter spacing or a 49 spacing on P90s. So check your cover fit like Marco's doing there before you actually try to shove it back in.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're
just make it fit too.
Yeah. Or if you're unsure, you know, maybe we gave you something that you hadn't considered and you're getting ready to upgrade P90s, and now you're like, oh, I got to remember to check the spacing to not give myself a headache later on down the line.
Yeah.
But so now I'm even reusing the screws and the springs. If you ordered some P90s from us, we would include the mounting kit in there, but some people like to leave the screws with the guitar. Some people like to leave them with the pickups.
The guy on Reverb's like, are those the original P90 screws in there? Which I'm sure we've all had that sort of a... The other thing I'm going to be using here coming up, and I won't get to show you all of the details, but these are cool little sanding pads that go all the way from 320 to 3500 grit. This is a great way to finish off the last little bit of polishing. You're going to work all the way up through all the grits, make it as shiny as possible. Also use fret erasers quite a bit. I do like how those work as well. I kind of go back and forth on favorites for sure. And the benefit of this guitar being at 25.5, I'm going to be using the Music Nomad fret shield, which will attach with rubber bands and lay there. So then I can work on polishing on the frets all at once. So after you've got your basic, so I didn't cover the leveling because they were fairly level, but after you've got your basic crown on there, you've got your rough crown, then it's time to sit there with the fine detail sanding. So I'm going to start with that 320 pad, and I'm just going to work each side of the fret. And I like to go in this motion. Every once in a while I will kind of run down and do, like a lot of companies will do this, where they kind of just flap sand everything all the way up through the grits, and that's fine. It sometimes still leaves scratches, but towards the last handful of grits, I want to make sure that I'm going this way on the frets, because that's the way the strings bend. So it'll actually make for smoother bends as you polish them up. But we're going to polish these all the way up to over 3,000 grit, and then we're going to probably buff them out at the end, because I just want them to be smooth and last for a long time. These are kind of a medium jumbo fret, which I really like working with the bigger frets, because you've got more room to take them down for sure. So as we kind of work through this, so again, I'm going to go through 320 into 400 and then scrub each fret, make sure that the big scratches from the time before are erased, and then all the way back through. You may have to do this multiple times. It always seems to be that you miss something. And then at the end, if you want, you can go and check your job again and make sure nothing's rocking. Make sure you didn't over crown anything. It's always the time, right, Marco, where we're like, okay, now we want to hear the pickups. Now we want to get through, but it doesn't ever go quickly sometimes.
Yeah, and this guitar we've had for a while, and we've kind of been like, oh, wait, we got to get to the Reverend. We got to get to the Reverend. But just kind of the way that the weeks have played out, we've kind of been all hands on deck and had to wear a lot of different hats. So we're finally getting around to this. I know we kind of teased about it for a while when we first got it showed up.
Yeah. So I'll see if I can get up to the camera and show you the progress there. You might not be able to see it, but now the frets are starting to get re-shiny. I've got kind of the previous scratches eliminated. They have a lot more of a round top. They do come to that point, and I'm trying to preserve that as best I can. There's different styles and techniques. Some people do completely round, some people do very triangle, some people leave the tops and they look like little mesas, and that works too. It's kind of like pick your flavor of popsicle sort of thing, where one way can work for a lot of different people. So as I get through here, getting those 320 marks, and some people will just go up to about 1,000 or 1,200 and stop. I like to go as far as I can, just because that extra smoothness really does make a difference, and it kind of bothers me if it's not there on some guitars. So it's kind of a fault, I guess, because I make it too good sometimes. Not saying I'm like all that on the frets, but I just kind of like, once you have a place you want to be, it's like I can't enjoy the guitar until like you said, we noticed in the intro, like we notice all these small things, and it kind of is a good and bad thing.
And you almost can like see how good it can be, and that is what like pushes you to get it there.
For sure. And then so the importance of really, really good lighting here. I've got just a nice UV something fluorescent-ish light. It's really, really bright, and that's good for working on pickups, but also when you're doing the fretwork, you really want to have a couple colors of light, ideally, so you can kind of make sure you see anything that could be a problem. So as I go from here, up through all the grits, like I said, and at that point, once I'm confident that they're level, then we can go back and take a look at how our setup's looking, and then we'll probably maybe even want to adjust the nut slots depending on that. But this thing should be playing much smoother than it was from the factory. And I find it a little bit weird, because I think that I've played some Reverends, off-the-shelf Reverends, and the frets have been a little better than this one came to us. So I don't know. Don't know what happened with this one, but it did pass QC, and I don't know if that's a normal thing that you can expect from them or not. I just haven't got my hands on enough of them to know for sure. Well, as we kind of wrap up here, Marco, anything else you want to give as far as advice? I think the one thing I thought about when putting in P90s really is making sure you're not stripping out those tiny threaded screws. You can see Marco's using a really fine tip screwdriver. Don't use the wrong size screwdriver, or you're gonna break
threads on that.
Especially if you're using power tools. And one of the things I really like to do, I think I even talked about it in another video, it's like you've got your screw and I turn it backwards until I feel it jumps, just so that I'm not cross-threading the existing thread, because then you can really make yourself more of a job there if you make new holes here. So
Definitely.
just little things like that. And I'm just trying to match the pickups pretty much to around the same height, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to have to change everything anyway because they're just different pickups. But I'm almost to the point now where I'm flowing solder and we'll be ready to rock.
Sweet. Well, we'll be on to part 2, and yeah, thank you guys for watching as we just sit here and start polishing frets and finishing solder joints. And you know, we just encourage you guys to, you know, don't go past your limit, but we also encourage you to try stuff. Buy a cheap guitar and start working on it. Start trying your own pickup swaps. Start just getting out there on your own and learn stuff about guitar. It's really rewarding, and it also hopefully will save you money. I mean, you can mess things up and then not, but that happens. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully this thing will be strung up the next time we see you back here.
All right, so that was just a quick start on our bench progress of this Reverend. Now you're probably waiting to hear how it sounds, as we are too. We're going to get to that in part 2 in an upcoming video. So let us know what you think of this from the bench format, and leave comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our videos as well.
Yes, and please stick around for part 2.